you, Justine. It's all yours.
Awesome. The seat's up waiting. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Hi, everybody. I'm Justine. I'm a partner at E16Z on our early stage team. We invest in a ton of creative tools companies, both in the page model layer and the app layer. Super excited to be here tonight. I'm also like sort of an AI creator on the side, though not nearly as creative as everyone here.
there's not every. Okay.
A small community. Cool. So maybe I have a bunch of questions to ask these folks about sort of the creative ecosystem and where it's going. But maybe I'll have everybody start with a brief intro of themselves and the company they work at.
Amazing, thank you, Justine. I'm Jack. Pleasure to be here with legends who I use your tools as well every day. But yeah, pretty much ElevenLabs, A to Z of audio in AI. Before joining ElevenLabs, history in the entertainment industry, music industry. So feeling very excited to accelerate that more and more. Worked with many films and trying to bring that to the AI future.
I'm Justine Maier. I'm the founder of Civitai. It's an AI community. If you may stand with the guide, we'd love to be your home. Up in, join us. We also are the home of kind of anything open source image and all that fun stuff. I'm excited to talk about kind of the future of what we'll be with AI. My background is as an engineer, and I look forward to replacing myself. Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I'm a CEO and founder of Hedra. We're a video foundation model company that focuses on character performance. Before I started Hedra, I was a PhD student, and much before that, I was a failed child actor. Yeah, let's keep on the deal. Your camera's off. But yeah, I'm like really happy to be here. Such an awesome crowd.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Gorkem. I'm the CTO and co-founder of FAL. FAL is a generative media developer platform. We have our own infrastructure where we host models, open and closed source models, and we have our own inference engine to speed up the inference speeds. We are hosting many different models that are probably you are using in our everyday workflows. Super excited to be here and talk there on. Yeah.
Awesome. And these are all companies. I don't think we played it this way, but we've invested in A16 speaks. I'm allowed to roast them, which is very fun. Just like, okay, I'm supposed to ask you guys about your favorite project from the competition, but I also feel like it's hard to ask you to play favorites. So maybe either your favorite project or some kind of trend or type of content that you're particularly excited right now and make us see reflected out there.
I'll go first. I just talked with someone in the video game, and I think that it's awesome. This time around, he said that he used AI to create various assets. It's not like the entire game is generated out of demand, but he was able to speed up the code things so he created a very iterative project, which is huge for high-cost video games. I think we talked a little bit about how that continues to evolve it, and what he's excited about is to make it so that there's a level of dynamic content creation that happens as part of that. So be sure to check it out. It's one of the first monitors on the list over there. So that was one I was excited about.
Fantastic.
You actually stole mine, so no, I'm just kidding. I am very excited about what's going to happen in terms of like the fusion of generative media and interactive entertainment. I think that's like a really exciting new frontier. But I think one thing that I personally noticed that I think is like maybe potentially controversial, but I think is really exciting, is sort of this fusion and revisiting of genres that maybe like were something that, we all grew up with, but now is being produced, like, 90s style cartoons, like, making like fusions of Ghibli with The Office, like Justine does. I think it's like, that's really funny. You actually, Eric's followed us in Twitter, like best RL.
We're not obligated.
Yeah, she was giving me a kickback to say that. But no, I just think like it's really interesting that like kind of the creation becomes like a communal experience, and people can bring their old favorite media back to life.
Yes. One thing that not surprised me, but like maybe pleasantly surprised me. we internally in the company and people in San Francisco, when I talk about like AI video, we thought it was all going to be shorter form, the videos from the internet, maybe some ads, but we thought, okay, film and movies and TV shows are still far away, but like seeing all this content here, and that like people try to do hybrid approaches where like some real content is mixed with AI, and then like I think we are there. Like I think this is ready for prime time, and maybe like I was too like focused on the technology behind it and like trying to get things working, but on the creative side, it's amazing to see like it's there, it's ready.
I agree as well with like almost a hybrid of traditional and new. I think that's like the sweet spot also with that. And another thing that is like really interesting as well, it's I don't know, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Black Mirror tried to do that whole interactive episode. It didn't quite click. It was alright. But now with like conversational AI, I think we're going to very, very quickly see genuinely interactive film. And there's going to be already studios who are working in Wonder Studios. Recently looked for Justine and Zambia, but I think that's going to be like, we're there now in terms of like building your own reality app. That's people's life. Conversational AI, I think it's like 180 beta sessions. We're pretty much there.
Super exciting. I guess on that note, since you guys all run companies with a ton of users, I imagine you've seen the trend I've seen where it started a couple of years ago. Everyone's like creating and posting about AI content was mostly individuals, creative people, self-prosumers. Suddenly, like all of my friends in the past 3 months at like ad agencies and entertainment companies and even traditional enterprises are asking how to use tools and what tools to use. I'm curious if you guys have seen that in your user bases, and do you think companies will need to build new products for the enterprise audience, or do you think you can serve a lot of those folks through the existing product suite?
I'll take it. We started the company maybe 2 years ago, and we started working around Stable Diffusion right after Stable Diffusion was released. And when we were pitching investors or even like people when we were trying to hire people, it felt like a toy. Like people thought, all right, okay, you can create these images, you can post online, it goes up viral, but like what's the use case? And investors love asking that question, what's the use case? But like I think in the past, I would say 6 months, maybe like a year, we are a developer company, we try to work with the biggest enterprises we can work with, and we are seeing real emerging use cases in all sorts of companies. All of a sudden, every e-commerce company is a potential customer, every retailer is a potential customer, everyone doing anything about ads, marketing is a potential customer. People are talking about hyper-personalized ads where like you can create 10,000 different versions of it that A/B test, like on the online. Like companies that are just doing what I just described. So I think the use cases, capabilities, the market grew a lot in the past 6 months, and it's definitely the biggest of the enterprises. We have like, I think 3, maybe 4 Fortune 50 companies using Cloud in production right now. So it's definitely happening, and it's at the biggest stage.
I think one of the things that's interesting for me to see is some of the community flip creators has been seeing how these enterprises, they're trying to make sense of how to use this, and it's changing so heavily. And the people that are right on that forefront are these hobbyists, the people tinkering with the tech, trying to figure out how to make things work, trying to keep up with what's happening. And so it's just these people that were just doing it for fun to become these teachers, these educators, to help these enterprises understand the tooling, the models, the way to get what it is that they're looking for. And I don't know, it's been really cool to be a part of seeing so many people kind of get lifted up from, hey, I'm just doing this for fun, to I'm doing this professionally, to, oh man, here I have a job at this Fortune 50 company, trying to help them solve this problem they don't know how to do.
Yeah, and there's also the caveat of that as well. So you've also got the people who are always like approaching AI almost like a vampire in sunlight when you mention it. but now noticed in the last 12 months, like those same people, you're seeing them say film shoots, etc. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's part of my work. So, like, and even just in 12 months is that the difference is amazing. Where yeah, enterprise contracts direct the balance sheet, but when you see it like organically in the creator's real front lines, that is almost more exciting because you're like, okay, this is where the people might actually use the tools. It's online and it's here, and we're here now. So it's really.
And do you think we're going to start seeing more bifurcation in tools? Like, do you think the way that consumers are really going to engage with the technology is going to be very different than people that desire more creative control or have like more specific pipelines? So I do think like, I think good design is good design. And there's like new ways of building this kind of software that like based around like capabilities of technology that's going to move us fundamentally from identity to generative workflows. And I do think that is going to be something that we have to figure out. And I think that there probably is a lot of overlap in like what's intuitive for like a prosumer who's using these tools to, film tier, versus like maybe sort of use more like a PMM, and like a big company who's like really just focused on how to ensure elements like product marketing video or ad. So I do think like we are going to see a lot of specialized companies that kind of service these like core use cases. I think we are going to also see like some companies that really just focus on like what's the actual workflow that makes this all this work more accessible, at least with the first great enterprise base.
That's deeper.
Yeah, super interesting. And one of the things we've noticed with enterprise with a lot of our companies is like they get kind of leads or inbound for potential customers from consumer pro-score copyist content that goes viral. So I'm curious, do you guys plant any of the viral content? Like find creators and be like, hey, this would be a cool thing, you should do it. Or when something goes totally viral using one of your tools or platform, are you genuinely surprised?
I wish I was that good at marketing to like plan this behind the scenes, but unfortunately, not me. Maybe Mike Phillips.
Justine has secretly been a Twitter employee for the last month.
People have accused me of that a lot, and it's not true.
No, I think I'm actually like always struck by like how like I think we're pretty good at content, but then like everyone on the internet is just so much better than us, and it's just like I think you just have to give people the freedom to like make really creative things that like let them cook. It's like the people in Minecraft that built like freaking cities, I was really impressed with like a castle with like a fire on top, and it's just like you give people the tools, they'll make like amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't really play the scenes.
Likewise, no, really organic happens. But it's quite funny when like one of the most popular voices on the platform is just a guy from the office. So sometimes you get freaked out when you're watching the video, or he's just like being too noisy and making the coffee.
What's his name?
That's Maltby Mark. One side of it's one of the ones which you hear everywhere. He's just in the office, completely organic. How done?
I'll just say ditto. I mean, if you could plan it and make it work, that'd be awesome. It means you've got an awesome marketing team. But the best part is being able to open this stuff up to everybody and they'll pull it on their own. We haven't done any big marketing. It's all just been word of mouth. It is because people need amazing stuff. And if we could do that, cool, but we don't need to, which has been awesome. Kidding.
Very cool. Speaking of people making cool stuff, I was hoping we could talk about, I'm calling it the mass Ghibli moment, which was what happened with everyone taking the photos and making the Ghibli style. I think you could argue that is a great moment to onboard millions of people to AI content creation. You could also argue it largely benefited ChatGPT and OpenAI. How do you guys think about getting people on that pipeline from potentially AI curious, I just made my first image on ChatGPT, to a user of one of your products and make them with sharing stuff?
I think it's cultural moments which are quite rare and they kind of sneak up at you accidentally. Maybe sometimes you might be. We're starting to see it now in museums as well. In MoMA, in the British National Portrait Gallery, there's now elements of AI art. So it's like a slow flood of everywhere. And I think that's where user for content just organically open up. And then, but you can force it a bit as well. So we're working with one artist at the moment, Harry F., an amazing individual, and he's created pretty much nature that you can talk to. and there's going to be museums traveling about the world. He's built one ancient, which is a glacier. And so, the public can go up to it and be like, why are you melting? And then again, so it's education as well. You talk to the dodo, and the dodo has a fine-tuned voice, has a ElevenLabs fine-tuned with knowledge base to perfectly represent the facts accurately. And so it's education this way, and it's not something which is going to be like a tidal wave where people will culturally wake up. It's these little bits where interest is sparked, curiosity, actually.
Right. So one of the things that's really big for us, it's this idea of readings. It was the Ghibli thing. Just the other day, I saw the thing going around was people making dolls on themselves. So they'd upload a picture to ChatGPT and the Cherry's doll or whatever of themselves. I think what's happening now that I'm seeing is really videos starting to take off, and like the idea of X and things like that. So people being exposed to TikTok, hey, I posted this picture of me, and now it's, me getting cut in half or me turning into a robot or whatever. And making it so that it's really easy for people to go from that to making that for themselves from the picture that they bring, the 10 different versions that they want to share, that sort of thing. And I think that once we can open the ability to create those sorts of interesting effects up to everybody, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to kind of see where people can take it, all of the diverse niches that will open up around that content.
One really surprising thing for me was, that was possible. A year ago, you could fine-tune Ghibli Laura and create photos of yourself, right? Maybe the quality was a little bit worse, but it was, I would say, 95% possible. And for some reason, there were similar viral moments, but none of it was as big as what we experienced. And it happened completely accidentally. Ghibli, maybe the world is capable of so much more new things, so many things that wasn't possible before, but something that was, kind of available already, went completely viral. I don't know. A historian of the internet should study this and understand why things go viral like this in unexpected ways. And I think, for any of us in the stage and in the audience, this is an incredible moment of growth. When something is successful like that, that means more demand for anything else. That means, investors or your potential users are seeing that people need this. They're hungry for stuff like this. So this is not going to be the last viral moment of generative media. There's going to be more of this stuff. And for us, it's incredibly exciting. And I think it should be for everyone else.
Yeah. I also spend a lot of time, maybe as a contrarian take, thinking not necessarily how do we get the next viral movement, but what was the core motivation behind why people resonated with that? And for me, this showed a lot of, and you see this went out on a lot, TikTok now, the rise of faceless channels. A lot of people are maybe not comfortable putting representations of themselves online, but having this new creative way of turning themselves into a cartoon, or putting themselves in a new scenario that maybe they be embarrassed or not have that activation energy to share. I think it's really interesting, and I think that one of the cool properties as well of this tech is it lets people who do more a social presence be able to create an expression of themselves. So that's what I find the most interesting of all these with looking through these files to see what was the more efficiently.
Yeah, super interesting. We talked to a bunch of companies, obviously, to look at things like the OpenAI moment or, what Canva is doing with all the AI tools, and they're scared that it's going to be winner take all, one big company. But we often find it just exposes people to AI and it unlocks all these use cases, and people end up saying hey, and what else is next, or what can I do? One of the other really cool things and unique things I think about this space is so many AI and creative tools companies work together. It's very modular. It's very rare especially if you're creating a film, for example, that you would create something fully end-to-end in one platform, a 2-minute film. You're probably going 5 different places to make an image, to animate it, to add a voiceover, to add sound, that sort of thing. I'd love to hear how you guys think about when you partner with other companies head of space, when you build something yourself, and maybe examples of partnerships that everybody's successful.
Well, about this list.
I think there's been, at least from our side, there's been partnerships with all three of these companies on the stage. So one way or the other, and we try to collaborate, partner with anyone, and we can. Again, I think at this stage of the industry, you should always think about growth, adding new capabilities, making sure more people are, part of this industry. Like people in this room are defining what this is going to look like, and it's a historical moment that you should include as many people as possible. Like having walled gardens, trying to do things as exclusive as possible. It's too early for that to work. No one's that much better than anyone else. So I think it's better for all of us to work together and increase the opportunity, increase like where all this is going by working together.
Yeah, exactly. Just let go.
I think that one of the things is
Go for it. Because I can do it.
the ability to put together these tools means that you can create awesome content, and AI gives you the ability to create something that can be recreated. And so, as I think about kind of content of the future, something that I actually talked about at the last Gala was this idea of being able to keep track of how somebody made a thing. Where did they throw in the Hedra mod? Where did they throw in the ElevenLabs audio? What was their prompt? And being able to keep all of those pieces together so that the content that comes out isn't just something that's produced once, but it's infinitely remixed. It can easily change out that voice to be Mike from the outfits, right? Or change out the character to have it still be, lip synced in just the same way with Hedra. And I think that as I think about the content of the future, it's not any one company that does all of their things. It's all of them coming together to create the ultimate final product and a distribution channel that makes it so that everybody can kind of participate in the creation of that content. So I'm really excited to kind of see, as these various companies are coming together to solve the problems to make that possible, that we're ultimately kind of creating this new media that allows everybody to engage in a way that they couldn't before. Previously it was just thumbs up, comments, that sort of thing. But now we can actually create together.
Is that good? So that thing?
Our two biggest partners are on the stage. So, I love working with Valve. I think they have amazing developer experience across their minds, especially now that we have sort of this generative media platform that brings together a lot of different video models. So it's been great working with them. They have great developer experience. It's just great spending time with nice people. You forget that's actually an important thing to do if you're in the space. Same with the ElevenLabs team. We've got went to Japan together. That was cool. We've done some really cool marketing events. So it's nice getting to work with people that are deeply passionate about their areas, especially as an intersex course. This just makes you really excited to get up every day, makes your team really excited. You haven't done anything with Civitai yet, but let's do something like yourself. I don't know. I just think it's really important to focus on these workflows and how you bring people together to cover people to preach really cool content quickly, and that's involves working the best team.
Nice.
Yeah, constantly every day I'm stunned by how the ecosystem is just so collaborative, and everyone's kind of working for each other in a weird way. And especially I've only been in tech or AI for 3 years or so, so it's super fresh to be oh my god, how much we just with each other. A company will say, oh, we've dubbed it into Japanese, but the lip sync is not great. Oh, have you heard of Hedra? And it's so collaborative, and I feel like we were all even with ElevenLabs in particular, we're Sesame recently a few months ago released the model. A lot of the sales team were straight away talking to the engineers, going, hey, what's going on there? And she says, well, it's fine, we learned something. And then we're adapting. There's never this idea of jealousy. We all build and stand on each other's shoulders, and just feels such a rich ecosystem, which I've never experienced anywhere else apart from that.
It's cool. Amazing. Okay, I'm getting a sign to wrap it up. This is so fun. Thanks, guys, and congrats to everyone for all of the amazing products. It's very cool to see.
Thank you so much for coming out.